And here we are. Hello, everybody. This is a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming, and we are joined here with Emuz. Wow, 5 seconds in, and I'm botching things. I am sorry, Emuz. How you doing, man?
It's all good. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, it's been a day, and we are sitting agog here in Netslum in the Shining Darkness server. We're here to go through the custom board you built for Fragment's 15th anniversary. But first, let's do some quick introductions. Please tell us a little about yourself within the Fragment world.
All right. I go by the handle of Emuz. I've been playing dot hack since when basically I was introduced to this series when with the dot hack side anime. It was the first one I had ever watched. It was heavily encouraged that I watch it, and as soon as I was done with that entire series, I immediately went out and bought the first two games because the second game had just came out in the United States. Um, in the Fragment community, at the moment, I'm currently doing graphics translations for the translation team, and just trying to be helpful when I can when I'm not incredibly busy with work.
Fair, fair. Yeah, you had just mentioned you got on vacation. Congrats on making it there.
Thank you.
Uh,
it, it's a rare
so
thing.
I completely understand, especially this year. It just feels like any sort of reprieve feels like 1,000 miles off. Now, I do know one of the things I saw you worked on the last couple months, one of the big things that stood out to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, the battle mode on and off animations. You completely reworked those and translated them, yes?
That is correct. The way that the graphics tiling works, I'll be a little bit technical, so pardon me. They're how the tiling works is in the game. There's places that are defined where each of the tiles are, and the tiling is completely different for the English version. So I had to basically take the places where the old graphics were and make brand new ones on there. Um, and I was able to do it successfully, which I'm quite pleased that it actually turned out as well as it did.
So, to me, not being technically inclined in the least, that translated to equal parts art project and slider puzzle. Am I following?
You are following. That is absolutely correct.
That is a ridiculous undertaking in its own, and one I gotta admit I am personally very thankful for. Because as this translation kept going and going, and you saw all the little parts, that was one of my little secret wishes to get translated, that little battle mode on and off.
Yeah, the and I lucked out. There's a lot. I lucked out a lot because for the most part, everything in the graphics is exactly how it is on the screen, except for um, like half of it is in one side and half of it is in the other side of the graphic. So and I can read a little bit of Japanese, so I was able to. That helped speed things along a little bit as well. Um, don't get me wrong, I can't speak it for a darn, but I I do have a marginal grasp on kanji, on very basic kanji and the kana. So I was able to pick up on a few things, like especially on like the on and off. It's just on and off in kana, so made it really easy just I didn't have to do any research. I could just put the new graphics on top of it.
Okay.
But I lucked out. We all lucked out because a couple of the graphics were just straight swap-ins. Like the all portals graphics are just the English graphics from the original game, from the English version of the game, because they did not change the tile mapping on that. So that was very nice. And I had to redo the graphics for the um, data drain screen as well because those again had similar issues because the graphics are smaller because there's just two kanji instead of an 8 letter word. Um, so what I ended up so I had to make new graphics for that too. Unfortunately, that's why Kite is back for now. I'm hoping to replace him back with that generic figure at some point.
Well, I mean, either way, it works well enough, and it certainly is. It certainly performs well. So thank you for all of that. Um, Today we are running your the field you created for Fragment's 15th anniversary. Keywords were under the moon, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What was your inspiration for that field in particular? I know I got a chance to run it and was very impressed with it.
It started out with I started with the song "In the Land of Twilight Under the Moon," which is a song that is in the second half of the Dot Hack Assign anime, and it just seemed like a good it just was an interesting place to start. So I came up with the keywords first, Under the Moon, and then I wanted to make it a wood field, and then it just kind of evolved on its own when I was working on it. I was going, well, I want to involve as much lore. I want this to be tied to the lore in some way, and so I just kind of, as I was building the things, I was going, and maybe I won't go into the story. We'll let the story unfold as we play it, but in the end, that's what ended up. That's how the story kind of ended up going in, and then I filled in the text to kind of accentuate the story. And then I realized I published the older version that had had massive amounts of typos in it. So I went back and fixed all that. At least I think I fixed all that.
That was all right. I mean, typos happen, and I will admit, right, just running through, it was readable enough, and it sucked me in right away. As soon as I realized what I was stepping into, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a fun ride.
I also ran out of time because there was a couple other things I wanted to do, but uh, again, I think it turned out very well as it did. And I would at this point I would, other than fixing the typos and making sure that the all of the characters that were referenced have their references in place. Um, the I think it turned out very well, and I was happy to see that you ran it and enjoyed it so much. That means a lot to me.
Oh, it was a blast. Anything dealing with that subject in particular, I pop a little for it, and I don't want to hit too heavily on the specifics until we get there. But my goodness, as I'm sitting there hitting room for room, and you and me were running with Spooky yesterday. As soon as I got done with it, I'm like, hey, Spook, Emuz put out a new custom field. You may want to run it. I think you'll like it. Uh, so, so I threw that out to him right away because I know he's a big fan of that stuff as well.
And I haven't had the server up for a little while just because I was working on the previous field, but Shining Darkness should be a regular server again probably by Monday or so. I'm just tweaking it a little bit and trying to get, because I have a little bit of time, so I took time to get some things in order, as you were.
Fair enough. Spending the holidays getting Shining Darkness back in place. Now, as for your server, bit of history with this game and your server in particular. You said it's how old was it again?
4 years, I think. It was 2016. Yeah, but it was near the tail end of the Coldberg era. It was not too long. It was around when that build 8 came out is when I started this, because, and the reason I can tell is because the chronicling, I don't know how to say it, keyword is actually in English and not in Japanese, because if I had done it a previous version before that, it would have been in Japanese still when I first started the server. And it ran for several months. In fact, I really never got a chance to play it very much myself. I think I ran the inaugural day on it, and then then I got, again, I was still busy at that point, so I didn't get as much time. I didn't get as much time to play, just like now. And I saw a lot of people were using it, were playing on it, and it got up to level 10 before I shut it down, because one, I had it on a Linux server that I had to get rid of for budgetary reasons, and 2, there were other reasons.
Okay. Well, um, wow, level 10 that quick. Man. See, I'm jealous. When it comes to running the servers, I get mine up when I can, and generally it's just whenever I'm home because I would hate for something to happen or something to be wrong with it and have to, pester the wife from work to go ahead and restart it and everything. But
Well,
just,
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. No,
Oh,
I'm
no, no,
stepping
no.
up.
All right. Make sure you finish. I was going to say is that I've been running, and I've been the recent version, the version that's active now. I've been running on a Linux server the same way, but it has not been as stable, and I haven't traced it down to why yet. But it's not. It's not on. It's not. I do have to go in and restart it every so often. The back in the day, I didn't have to restart. I'd restart it for a week or so. So go ahead, finish your. Go ahead. My apologies.
No, no, you're fine. I was just sort of going off on my own there. I do apologize. I tend to get lost mid thought and meander a bit. Um, Sort of the whole hiker's mindset, even when I'm, just taking a stroll through the woods, I'll see something that sticks out a little different to me. And the next thing I know, I'm an hour past schedule heading in a direction I've never been. Um, so I do apologize if I do that conversationally every now and then as well. That said, I do believe it's time we go ahead and take a look at this field here. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
Okay, excellent. Here we go to the gate.
All right.
Go ahead, pull up the words here. We are looking for Under the Moon. Shouldn't take me near as long as yesterday for me to find the words.
I added a bunch of words as I was going on. I just, trying to keep some variants in the field types and stuff.
Now, random question I do want to ask you, dot hacker to dot hacker, because this is something that drives me nuts up a wall. Do you have any clue what these gems actually mean in the positions they're in?
I know they mean precedence, but that's it. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what the difference between green or red. I've never, I've never really done the research. And I've asked the same question myself, but I've never really looked into it.
I think at one point I heard the red gem takes precedence if there are multiple gems lined up. But what means what, I have no clue whatsoever. Because I always look at that and I'm like, oh, that's really a pretty way of not telling me anything.
I like the pattern it's got though. It's got the goes. It makes like a little arrow for some reason. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, it does. I was actually kind of thinking that very thing, sort of like an arrowhead from almost a tilted perspective, almost looking down the bow itself at the end.
I think if I remember correctly, under has the wood. I think under's the one that has the wood characteristic, the wood field. So
Yeah, yeah. Under
so
has field type and magic portals listed.
that makes sense. Then yeah,
And this is a level 7 field, so right at that level where perhaps even a party of new players, level 1, level 2, could band together, get their items stocked up, and maybe with a little luck, run this themselves.
it would be great experience. And there's a lot. It's designed to have a lot of rewards, lots of chests, lots of crates and stuff to smash. So there should be a very um, rewarding monetarily and gear wise as well. So it's definitely a good field for a for a lower level player to get their teeth in on it.
And even if you're not super low level, just appreciation of the story and the level of detail you went into certainly makes this worth a run. But I do believe we've done enough talking. I'm going to go ahead and hit warp.
Let's do it.
first time my wife saw me fiddling around on your server, she's like, frowny face server.
Yep.
It says, you feel uneasy as if you are being watched. Stay sharp.
And of course, I made sure that behind here, just like most fields, most wood fields, there is something behind here. It
Good
seems like
call.
it seems like a majority of the, and of course I got the fool. The majority of these fields have that, and I wanted to make sure that that had that, just because it seems to be a standard thing with the wood fields in the actual game. So.
Yes.
All right, I'll let you lead.
Okay, into the next room here. I should probably pop a so here we have a double portal room. I'll go ahead and pop a fairy's orb after we clear these.
And you can have that chest. You can have both of them if you want.
Oh, thank you. I'll go ahead. I'm so not used to grabbing chests on the one I do runs. In part due.
Go ahead.
In part due to time, and in part because mainly when I'm running with other people, like, I feel like me getting the capture of the run is more. That was some nice damage there, by the way.
Thanks. I'll take this one.
Oh, absolutely.
So, do you want to visit your nemesis, the Spring of Mist?
Spring of Mist? Absolutely.
All right.
Pop the fairy's orb there.
By
you
all
got
means,
anything?
I got nothing on. I got nothing to give.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw in an insane spear here and just have it throw a couple axes back at me. Because yep, and it's the holidays. It's a season of giving, so this overgrown raindrop can go ahead and give me some axes. Now, how did you take the voice the first time you heard it in Infection? For Monsieur.
I think I was a little more. I think I was more. I didn't really think anything either way, as long as I can remember. But I do remember the grandpa stood out much more to me. Because is it a golden axe or a silver axe? That kind of stuck with me more.
There. The grandpa didn't really bother me too much, but oh my goodness, Monsieur, the first time I heard him, I instantly went to that point and sign where Tsukasa is attacking him.
Oh, no, help me. Yeah. I think the voice that everybody doesn't like is Rachel.
Yeah, that one doesn't bug me, but I completely get where people are coming with it, and I forget who nailed it on Discord the other day with
the nanny. That was me.
Yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
Excellent assessment on that one. And that was actually one of my mom's favorite shows there in the 90s, so I guess I just kind of got like ear blind to that accent, if that makes sense.
I'm the exact same way. It was the exact same situation with me. And it was at that time. It was at that time when I was playing .hack. When I was playing .hack, that she was watching the nanny, so they were kind of intertwined.
Oh man, so you get hit with the double, Rachel.
Yeah.
The symbols on the forest fields always look the coolest. Either sitting right behind the statue or with the skull flower, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. This is my favorite field. In fact, there's a winter version of this field, and I have not figured out how to generate it.
Really? I don't think.
Because there's the music for it. I mean, I have the music for the game, the PSF2, and there is a track for it. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It could be for the rain, but because it's been so long, it could be just when it's raining. But it's got the telltale winter bells in it.
My goodness, a snow-covered forest field. That sounds absolutely incredible there.
Alrighty, if I remember correctly, this is where our next dialogue will be.
Okay. Says, "Shush, click, the land of twilight under the moon."
Yes.
There we are.
Thank you.
As I'm sure you were worried about that physical attack down there.
Yes, I really was. It was going to hurt so much. My stick already does 2 damage. 1 damage is just not.
That is okay. Here's some more dialogue. It says, "We dance for the idiots."
Those 2 are the those are the first 2 lines of the song, if I remember correctly, in the land of twilight under the moon.
Gotcha.
So basically, it's supposed to give you the. It's supposed to give you, for those who remember that song. It's supposed to. They're playing that song right now, during in the field, and that's what was. What's what I was trying to invoke. So gives you another, sense of ambiance other than just the existing background music.
Another tie-in, absolutely.
Sorry, I was too busy staring at the grunty with the teeth.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I said, the great thing about this forest field is virtually everything is like you just want to stop and examine every little detail if you can.
Absolutely.
This here, my absolute favorite symbol of all time on this field.
Absolutely.
And hey, Afghans, that'll... As if you aren't killing these things quickly enough with
it. And there's one of the... I think this is the one I left there. Go ahead, take the prize and the grunty.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Got a mage's soul.
There we go. Magic up. Magic defense up. That's
certainly not arguing with that. That one's all yours.
Thank you. I got the devil. I guess it's in the details.
Well played. Well played.
All right, so down is out. So let's...
Okay, so we're going to circle around to the other side there. Check that side out.
Sounds good. Although I do like the misty version of this, too. I don't think it's used very often in the actual game either. And I'm glad I was able to find this version of the field.
Yeah, it does set it apart from that normal sunny version. It says, suddenly the room is full of static. And enemies as we get close to the portal. You got to see... Thank you for the heal.
You're welcome.
You got to see the 2 happiest words in .hack Fragment there. Elemental hit.
Yes.
Now this looks like an empty room. Is there a chance of a piney apple in here?
I would say there's a high chance of a piney apple in here.
Definitely worth the look then.
There's your piney apple right there.
Yep. Sitting right by the headstone, which really just makes you want to grab an apple, doesn't it?
It does.
Nothing more refreshing than a snack sitting on top of a grave.
It was, and it make you feel worse if that was an offering.
Yep.
Yeah. Ah well.
On to the next. Okay, now we're heading down once we get back to the junction, right?
That is correct. As I shake my head like you can see my head.
Don't worry about that at all. I've been doing hand gestures the entire time we've been talking. I find now even I think with hand gestures, which makes it really fun when I'm thinking frenetically. Okay, it says the music stopped.
I actually got a hit off on me.
Dang. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm experiencing a little bit of lag on this end, so when all of that came up, it was like,
Oh, it's not on you at all. I find it amusing. I'm used to the offline one where if you get hit, you end up just dead.
oh my gosh. Got that mummy ripper, and you took care of the mushroom guy with little to no difficulty at all.
That's Sir Mushroom King.
Sir Mushroom, my apologies. I keep wanting to call them all Scarlet Kings, and obviously that's not the case when they're not red, but
It's the same thing with mimics. They're not all called mimics, but they're mimics.
Yep.
And this should be the last message on the field.
Okay, it says, thank you for playing the world. An error has been detected in your area. That part there, I giggled the first time I played this field through because I'm like, he included the CC core error message. Awesome.
I just wish there was a way to put a Leos over here in the corner here.
That would be incredible. Especially if you did like an image hack of like the Corpse Warrior or something. Then afterwards you could just bust them apart. Didn't fall for it, huh? There's evil here. You should turn back. As we all know, the one thing you never do when you're told to turn back is turn back.
And that's exactly why I said it.
Don't ask me why it took this long to remember speed charms. I apologize.
We're taking a leisurely stroll. It's no big deal.
That we are. It's about enjoying the run.
Absolutely. When I played the original game and for the most part in this one, as of now, I'm trying to break the habit. I never used buffs. I never used speed charms unless I was going after those goblins with the armor or anything like that.
Those goblins are the absolute worst.
Okay, so.
Okay. And then you get them, you get the armor, and you're like, well, this sucks.
You get a cool summons that's not really that strong.
Yeah.
Let me make sure this isn't the right way. I think that might actually be the right way. Actually, as you pointed out earlier, it loops around.
Fair.
We'll loop around and then we'll get the area in the middle.
I think that's what I did too on that playthrough. So you mentioned starting with .hack sign. That was how I was introduced to the series as well. What was your favorite episode?
I forget the episode title, but the one with in the Land of Twilight Under the Moon, when it was that first one, when it was the one with Subaru, just after they and spoilers, if there might be spoilers, so apologies if there is. If not, tune out for a second. Where they disbanded the group, and she's just left to her own devices for a while, and it kind of had that flashback of what of what her character originally went through with Krim and things, and that one's a good one I like, and I like the last 3 or 4, the final arc.
Yeah, that was a heck of a build there to the end, and the episode you're referencing there with that big like showdown between Subaru and Silver Knight. That's the one, right?
Yeah, it's that one, and the one after it was the one where Subaru meets Cowchin, which is
yeah,
that one. Yeah, that's the other one I like, and I also like the end of the series, the 3 or 4 episodes that kind of tie everything together, because especially that last episode's pretty.
Now, did you watch it the whole way through, beginning to end, first time?
Yes.
I'm jealous of that a little. I actually ignored my buddy when he suggested it to me, and the first episode I saw was the one with the baby Grunty.
Oh, I think that. Okay, now that I remember a little bit, now that you jog my memory a little bit, I actually saw the first episode. I actually saw. First episode I actually saw. You can have the other treasure chest. First episode I saw was the one where Mimiru is waiting for Sakasa to show up. On the bridge.
Right, the Godot episode.
The Godot episode, yes. And
that's such a good episode.
And then the next episode I saw was the Grunty episode, and then I switched to the dubs. I mean, to the subs, and then I watched the entire series back from start to finish.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did not know what to make of it after that first episode. I was like, but the Grunty's going to be okay, right? And then it dies, and I'm like, what? Oh, that's so weird hearing the egg.
Magami Tomo, it's something Tamago, which is egg. Tamago.
Yeah.
I swear, because I don't know the Japanese names for the eggs, but the other day I was watching somebody do the bearcat egg, and I'm pretty sure it says demonic Tamago. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that actually makes more sense than bearcat egg.
It does. Honestly, I almost wondered if it was one of those things where it was a form over function thing, because the way the Japanese audio file for that one plays out, it just has such a natural roll to it that I'm like, okay, maybe they called it that just to, that's what it translated to, and that's kind of what we're stuck with.
Thank you. I'll take this.
By all means. Got a couple portals down here. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the area server program too much, when you get into the custom, into the word editor, and you're able to edit the field and the portals and everything, you're given a small pool of monsters to choose from based on essentially the level of the field, correct?
That is correct. And the element. There's an elemental vector, and if you go down, further down you go in a dungeon. So if you have like 10 floors, you get access to slightly stronger enemies the further you go down. So longer dungeons will have slightly stronger or something more complex enemies, usually like the larger ones or those kind of things.
Right. And to me, that stuff is always fun to sort of fiddle around and mess around with. When you're sitting there, you could like group things together to make it easier or harder and even theme some encounters.
Or make sure there are no mimics.
Oh, mimics. So you know the D&D joke on the mimics, right?
Maybe not. Go ahead.
Okay, as it was told to me by a friend, a party enters a tavern, and the barkeeper looks at them and says, "Welcome. Can I ask you why you still have your weapons out?" And the fighter looks at the barkeep and says, "Mimics." And he laughs. And the barkeep laughs. And the table laughs. So they stab the table.
Except traditionally in video games, it's always the treasure chest. They don't mimic anything else.
Yep. Sometimes I wonder if that's a lazy mechanic or just the most well-used commentary on the greed of humanity. It's always the treasure, because it's what we're going to stick our hands in.
I'll take the one next to me. You can have the one next to you.
You got it. Case in point, I'm sitting here poisoned, and I took my time to open a box. You can go ahead, grab that chest.
Got it. All right, and then the little monster in the corner.
Now, we're obviously hitting this a bit higher level, so for us it's more about the experience of the run and everything. But you come up on those bees, like, even level, you'd better have a spell. Their physical evasion is pretty high.
Absolutely.
That's another nice thing about these games. They, to me, have, like, the right amount of depth in the feeling, you know?
Absolutely. And we'll go this way.
Yeah, because I think we've hit everything else, right?
I think we've hit everything else except for this right here.
The chest we left behind.
Those chests left behind in a greedy scenario. Although the thing I like about these cutout rooms is there's always something interesting in the middle of them. Like
like
floating rocks, or thorn, or those skewers, or lava, or something.
Yep. Just the aesthetic of the dungeons in general is just such a great sort of feeling, and the colors being so muted on the floor and vibrant on the walls. It's really an attractive game setting. And to think 15 years later everything would be gray. This is your last chance, turn back. Sprite ocarinas are tasty. I liked that little parenthetical.
Now, I haven't tried it myself. I'm just making an assumption. On behalf of the narrator, I'm making an assumption.
Hey, actually, it kind of reminded me of something the Nickelodeon show Doug, the talent show episode. Do you remember that one?
I only saw a handful of Doug episodes back in the day, so I don't think I did it.
Doug's friend Skeeter makes an ocarina out of some bread from the cafeteria.
Oh, fitting.
So when I saw Sprite ocarinas are tasty, I'm like, did he really?
Unintentional reference.
Now, we killed those two pretty darn close together, but still enough time for them to get a res off.
Absolutely. They're a tricky one.
Definitely when soloing, I like to get them to, a spot right next to each other so I could just combo off on them. But at the same time, you got to watch that too, because they could hit for a ton.
I think I'll switch back to the rum spell just to try to get more area effect.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Plus, it's just fun to see lightning crashing down from on high.
Through 3 floors of rock.
That is one heck of a static charge, I will say. There are 2 of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the old Resurrection Tango there.
Technically, that egg isn't invisible, but it can't see you, so it doesn't know.
Moving into these couple small rooms here. Take a moment to cause a little havoc here in the pottery barn.
The greenest of gales.
Yep, as soon as you hear that stomping, it's like, gotta find it.
Yep. Even though they're a pain in the butt, even though they can be very annoying and they can ruin your day, I still actually like the veneer from a design aesthetic. I think they're actually kind of cute. And they're
they kind of remind you of those little things you'd find in the quarter vending machines,
Yeah. It's too bad the things in the quarter vending machines can't resurrect you. Alright, so I guess we keep going this way. We'll double back and get the other half of the level.
Sounds good. Now this part of the level here, a little text light.
Excellent. I don't know if there's any text. You can have the blue chest.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't remember if there's any text in the side or not.
That's okay. I do believe the main event starts on floor 3, if I recall correctly.
That sounds about right. I think the intro is at the last room of this floor. Okay, since we're higher level, it does make it look a little easy, and it's designed to be easy to a point. But yes, it will present a little bit of a challenge for the lower level, but not as much as some of the other dungeons. We tried to make it as easy as possible, but slowly making it more difficult the further you go down with the tools I had available at the time.
Gotcha. Well, I do appreciate that little balance between the dungeon being somewhat challenging and being approachable.
We're going the wrong way. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
Because,
go ahead.
The inner designer in you, and this is a struggle I personally have. It's the pro player DM versus the anti-player DM, where you want to sit there and really give them a combat that's going to challenge them, but at the same point, you don't want to make it something that's going to be alienating.
Absolutely. When I used to do ROM hacks back in the day, I always made them incredibly hard, like impossibly hard, and it's easier to do that than it is to make a balanced. You know, when you're approaching some. Go ahead. When you're approaching something like this, you want to try and make it balanced if it ever possible, but it's hard to do.
Now, you mentioned the ROM hacks yesterday. Since you brought it up here again, what were some of the stuff you worked on?
It was all Mario stuff, pretty much. It was back in '01, and I ended up becoming an administrator of a forum that was dedicated to ROM hacking and stuff. And at the time, I was just trying to. I was just trying. Nobody was working on Mario All Stars at the time, and I was trying to. My main focus is trying to get as much out of Mario All Stars versus the NES version of Mario 3, for example. And that's where I spend the majority of my ROM hacking.
Okay. You're heading back towards the
I,
stairs.
I, I, I realize. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, I was like, wait a minute. I'm talking and walking at the same time. It never goes well.
I completely get that. Okay, here we go. It says, fine. Have you heard of Morgana mode gone? No? Well, the last tiny fragment's here. So instantly, when you mention Morgana mode gone, like, .hack fans are going to get very specific, instances stuck in their head, and they're all saying, what did I just stumble into here?
And if kindly, and of course, there's a kind warning about it. You might want to turn back. Just, there's stuff going on with that.
Unknown where the cursed wave was born. There it is, the epitaph of Twilight.
Absolutely. Now we'll see if I corrected it.
So I will let you lead on this floor. The sky and the doth darken, and air doth fill with. God, I need to read quicker. My apologies.
Yeah. You read it much better than I could because I can't read that fast.
That's something I've been working on.
I used to be a much faster speed reader back in the day. All right, ready?
Yep. From the chosen land beyond the forest, a sign of the wave comes.
And of course,
that would be the moment my speed charm dies. Riding the wave is scathe the shadow of death to drown all that. So scathe, the first phase, probably the most famous of the phases, especially thanks to the GU games, I would think.
Yeah.
Mirage of deceit in us, betray all with the flawed image, and did aid the wave.
And that's why there's so many freaking Manir in here.
That is a good call.
And I'm glad he stayed behind because I think that Manir did the same thing for you when you played.
Yes.
Interesting.
And a spot-on reference to the propagation, and that's part of what I really loved here. Like, every little thing seemed carefully thought out throughout this entire run.
Okay, and then this one should be Magus. Come on. Yep.
And by the power of Magus, a drop from the wave doth reach the heavens and create a new wave. My mistake. Magus is the propagation.
But if you notice, it's all resurrecting enemies.
Right.
So that also fits. That also fits him too. Or round ball with the flowery stuff on it.
With the wave, Fidel, the power to tell the dark future, and I screwed up again because tell was split and my eyes went cross.
The reason Fiendale, or I can never say that one. I never could. Is this one, and there's no enemies. Is you have your choices. You have 3 treasure chests.
Right.
Now, we'll go to the one below because it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay. Gore schemes when swallowed by the cursed wave. A simple one as I overrun a Minear.
I'll leave the other trap chest for you, or risky treasure. So many different ways of saying it.
The blue box.
The blue box. The blue box of death.
Which is ironic because I pulled a resurrect.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, we'll go to this one up here.
Okay, top side we go.
You notice that this one is also Gore.
Yep.
Because they're twins after all, especially in the GU game. But even in the original phase, they're still twins.
They were creepy in the R1 games.
Should we do it? No. Like they say something like that when they're about to do one of their named attacks.
Yep. Wave reaches the pinnacle and escape none can. Tarvos still remains with more cruelty to punish.
Top us off a little.
Thank you. Maha seduces with the sweet trap. Now, I've always gone with Maha there, even though my mouth wants to say matcha on the spelling. Is that correct with Maha?
It's Maha. In fact, it's weird as I think the Maha is, there's 2 different characters with that name. And not to give too much away, but they're both said the same way.
I think at the point where like Motorola was the predominant phone brand when .hack sign came out, we're good on the spoilers.
Okay, so I don't know if I don't remember. I know in the English version of .hack sign, Maha's cat form is Maha, M-A-H-A. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time. But I think it's always supposed to have been M-A-C-H-A, Maha, which is the German pronunciation.
Okay, got it.
One thing I've never been good at is the map in .hack. R1 anyway.
Oh, the 90-degree turn rooms get me. And with turbulent destruction after the wave, I missed the other sentence because I read it 4 miles a day.
Corbinic,
yes.
Which became my favorite phase. I don't remember why. I always used to like Magus used to be my favorite phase, but over the years, I think there's because Corbinic and Skaith are the 2 that have the most impact on the entire story.
Yep.
So
perhaps then the wave is just a beginning as well, which I think may actually explain a good part of that in general, especially with the influence of Scaife and Corbenic, because they are the ends if you look at it linear, but they're just basically handing off to start again if you look at the wave as a circular thing.
Indeed, absolutely.
So there's almost a poetry to those two phases that doesn't exist with the others. Have you heard of the epitaph of Twilight? It's the foundation of this world and Morgana herself. Without question, one of the coolest works of, faux literature I've ever run into is the epitaph.
I like how much effort they put into the parts of. I mean, that in theory, most of that doesn't actually exist. It's only just hinted upon. I mean, the greater poem that's part of that. That's a part of. But it has such a you get the sense of the gravity of that. About why Harold could have possibly had that even though it's still a little he went a little too far, but you could see where he found inspiration in it.
Right. And I will say that was another one of the things about this series that really drew me in. There is an absolute depth of humanity in even the slightest and most background of inferences. Because you don't learn a lot about Harold and Emma right away when you're looking at everything. But then you find out here are two creative souls who had a kinship, and one was in love with the other's talents while the other fell in love with the person. And it just became such a strange dichotomy to look at, and you're like, huh. And it just sucks you in.
And of course, the whole game is it's a game for a means to an end. It's not the game is not meant to be a game. It was just meant to be a human behavior observation and data collection to create an AI based upon that.
Right.
And that's where the R2 gets into a problem. Is it was built on that same box, but they didn't initially use any of that, and then it started to create things like IDA, and you get issues,
Mm-hmm. Moving down here to the 4th level. Morgana is on this floor. There are two paths, one of light and one of dark. Choose wisely. Now, this is something I did want to ask specifically on. The two paths as they sit. What's your design process on this here?
I just created a two directions. It'll be a fork in the road, and one side will have the treasure for the treasure room, and the other side will have Morgana. Now, unfortunately, there's no logic you can put into this, so you can't have it say different things depending on where you go. So I just built it so that you'll know which path you went on by the responses you get. And
Gotcha.
then the one on the Morgana side, it technically has more annoying enemies, but that's about it. There's not a lot you can do. Not a lot you can do. But when we get to the last room, there's one thing I will tell you, the one thing that I wanted to do that I didn't have a chance to do research on. And I'm kind of glad I didn't. And when I explain it, I'll tell you why.
Sounds good. I'll grab this chest up here in the corner.
Sounds good.
Or down in the corner, I suppose that was at.
Snakeoids walk very nicely. I like their animations.
Yes. And that little, like, shadow boxing attack they have.
Yeah.
Like, when you're playing a game, you never want to pull for the enemies, but there's always that one or two that you're looking at that are cooler than some of the NPCs. Okay, so this brings us to our juncture, our choice between the two paths. And then there's a room down beneath, correct?
Correct. We'll go underneath because it's just a single room.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I almost skipped the room underneath the first time I ran this. I was so focused on which path to take.
This is the waiting room. Before you decide, here's a little sample.
Nice.
And it's got nothing in it.
Well, I mean, it's a waiting room, so at the most it was going to have a bowl of it, like peanut M&Ms or something. We're good. Now, heading from this point left is Morgana, correct?
Yes.
And that's the route we want to take first, right?
That's the route we want to take first, yes.
Okay, I did not notice the third one there at all. Did that come out of the second portal?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so that was on me for overcharging there, making the battle more tricky than it had to be.
Ah, you're good. That was designed specifically for that purpose. If you're not careful, you will trigger both portals at the same time, and you'll be overrun. Now this one is the one where they're stacked together.
Something I have grown a supreme respect and disdain for of late.
But it made them all pile up and kill them easily.
Yep. I remember the first time I saw a picture, I'm like, you could put them back to back? That's so cool. And then over the past month, farming for weapons and everything, it's like anytime I see a double portal like that, I'm just sitting there thinking, oh, my health.
Oh, those crab server ones. I've never tried any of the crab servers yet, but they're nasty. I've seen snow go through them.
Oh yeah. Morgana's powers have been weakened to nothing. She's up ahead. Steel yourself. I love that part there. To me, that always feels like one of those things where whoever has been leading you through this with the voice is acknowledging your progress through and wants to give you that fair warning before you hit the room.
Absolutely. All right. Now, before we go in the room, I'll tell you what I envisioned, what I wanted to do. You see that one lone portal in the room?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask V if see if they knew if there's a way I could hex the Guardian there. That would have been a level. That would have been a level like 35 enemy or something, or level 40 enemy, or hell, I don't even remember how big it is. But if I had done that, then the lower level people coming through this dungeon would be wiped at that point.
Absolutely wrecked, yeah.
So I'm kind of glad I didn't. But the original idea is it was going to be one, not a Dawn War Underwear or anything, but just the Guardian, the first tier of the Sakasa Guardian.
Right.
And I'm kind of glad I didn't do it.
It would have been an awesome aesthetic choice, but yeah, spot on. It would have completely wrecked the curve here.
Absolutely. It would have ruined the curve. In fact, your first playthrough, you might have even gotten wiped yourself, even at the level you were at.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think I don't even think I was level 20 when I hit this. I wouldn't have stood a chance. I'd have been one shot.
Well, now at least I'm happy enough just telling the story about what. Just imagine that's what it would have been. But instead, we have another enemy that is feared by all men and women and children. And
Morgana is all but a fragment. Take it if you dare. I got sort of distracted by the Menhir there, not gonna lie. More Menhir coming up here. And I do love the choice of putting the virus core next to the corpse there.
Yep.
To symbolize Morgana. You go ahead and, let this be a virus core U just for giggles.
Let's find out. A virus core F. It goes with you. I mean, you can make F and U are both two good cores.
They are.
So yeah, I set up the corpse warrior behind it to emphasize it as well. But that little core fragment was supposed to be Morgana. What's left of Morgana.
Gotcha.
It worked out very well.
Yeah, the first I had seen that, it's like such a poetic statement that the essence is there and then the corpse is sitting there just a husk. And now it's time to venture over to the path of light.
And goodies.
Dang, straight down with those.
Absolutely.
Nothing more embarrassing than missing twice.
Let's see here.
Okay, so this is last dungeon portal. This room up top, just one of those rooms where an egg usually spawns, correct?
I believe so.
Yep. Got some jars, got some eggs. These are actually some of my favorite rooms to hit when soloing, stock up on those. Especially if you're running into a bunch of enemies that are poisoning at lower levels. This is your best chance at grabbing antidotes.
Absolutely.
And now to the statue. See, nice treasure chest for you. No infections, no coma.
unless you went the other way. Boo on you. Boo! That's basically what it says.
great sense of humor on this. I love the jokes peppered in there with the epitaph and everything. Just a great experience from start to finish with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now to wrap up here, obviously you're on the Fragment Resurgence Discord. Um, People want to contact you, that would be where to find you. Yes.
That's probably the best place. Yes, on Discord. I have a I have a Twitter at possibly Emuz. Just all one word. But it's if in the Fragment community, it's just easier to go through the Discord than it will be anything else.
Fair enough. And obviously, Emu's Wave Master here. Do you have any alternate characters, or is this just the one you're rocking for now?
I have a both my current alternates are Japanese names. One is Nagata Umi. Nagata Umi. It's a Natsume style twin blade, and I have Kaochin, the heavy axeman, and basically it's in the same kind of colors as that character from Dot Hex 9.
Right. Okay,
Hi.
awesome.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you. This has been a blast. Thank you for joining me. Anything you'd like to say before we head out here?
Please, if you're thinking about playing Fragment or want to know more, please stop by the Fragment Resurgence Discord and please just say hi and we'll help you out and get going, because this is a fun game that's very easy to play once you got your feet wet with it, and you can there's a lot of cool people on the Discord.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's going to do it for us. This has been Emuz, and I have been setting a AGOGG. Thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.